80s action movie stars, right? Which one of them aged the poorest?
Characters?
Yeah, the characters.
Yeah. I have to say John McClane
Why?
because if you go by all three of them, he was just seriously drunk all the time. By the third one, popping pain pills
Yeah, but-
and stuff.
yeah, I
and getting
guess.
hurt a
Well,
lot.
Martin Riggs, I mean, he broke himself a lot, and he was not. That's one of those things that eventually the psychosis takes over, and he's going to kill Murtaugh in the end.
Oh, hey. Chinese food has been ordered. The VCR is all raring to go. And until we start, I want you to run into the light. The movie light.
I am Dr. Crisis, along with,
Mr. Dust.
and
I am Melamut.
yes, today we'll be talking, Mr. Dust.
I felt that we should talk about 80s action movies. Every kid grew up in the 80s, some of the finest action movies of all time. But in particular, I want to talk about three that came out in the same year. 1987 saw the release of Lethal Weapon, the first one, RoboCop, and Predator.
All right, so why don't we adjust a little bit on here? We'll just talk about all 1987 movies in general. That if we can think of another 1987 movie.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Yeah, I did the reason. I was like, 3 movies. And he's like, more movies. I'm like, oh my God.
It's brilliant.
What? I didn't catch it. So,
Going home.
So the theme of today's show, to clarify to all you peoples out there, is 1987 movies. Okay,
That's it. Show's over.
that's it. Thanks for joining.
Think about
us
1987,
in the
please.
place that we're at now. Okay, so So, do you want to start with a review of one of them?
That sounds good to me.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, buddy.
For me, I think I will start with Predator.
Go for it.
Again, came out in 1987.
Are you sure?
And I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I've done the research. Which I feel still today holds up as one of the scariest action movies that has ever come out. Predator himself, and I don't think they ever captured that since then in all the other Predator films. He was menacing as all fuck. It was unbelievable. And some of the things that are funny about it that happen over time are endearing now. Like how quickly the team just broke down. I mean, the best that ever was, and someone accused you of being the best, and it's like there's something in the weeds. Oh no! And they just lost their shit.
buzzard.
That's a psych job. But again, the pacing of the film, and for me, the sound, everything they did with the sound of the film, to the music. From the music, I should say, to Predator's sound effects, to the gun noises, to the explosions, to how they had the actors yelling. The sound assault of that film is still captivating to this day for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Right. So let's go over that, because that's actually something I want to get back to about the mentally unstable aspect of that team
Yeah.
and the flaws in general of the movie.
Yes.
But just right now, what are the best parts of the movie?
the best parts of the movie. For me, of course, Predator himself is the shining, the concept. And I don't know if you guys have seen, or if anybody out there has seen the original pictures of what he was going to look like.
No, I haven't.
Absolutely ridiculous. A giant / dinosaur lizard thing that was to be played by. He's in the costume in the picture that I found. It's legitimate. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay, this is actual factual.
This is actually factually real.
Okay. Go ahead.
He was cast because someone saw him, one of the producers saw him and what he could do with his athletics. And they said, we want this guy in here. He's so athletic and he can do things. He jumps super high and all the kicks and stuff. But then they put this giant, clunky piece of crap suit on him and he couldn't do any of it. And someone else realized that he was much smaller than anyone else in the film. So he's standing on stilts with this headpiece on top of his head to make him look tall. Ridiculous. They suddenly said, all right, this can't, it's hilarious. There's many different stories of whether he was fired, he left, who fired him, and all that. But then they said, okay, we're getting someone else. And they got Kevin Peter Hall, rest in peace, to play the Predator, who was taller than anyone else anywhere. And they completely redesigned. They brought Baker in to completely redesign the monster.
Really?
Yes.
Rick Baker, the Monster Maker.
The Monster Maker.
I mean, I knew, of course, he won an Academy Award for working with Kevin Peter Hall on
Harry and
Henderson's,
Henderson's.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that design happened. And for me, that is when you think of the film, that's what you think of first. Predator was horrifying. The physicality of Hall, just the vision, the sounds he made by the great Frank Welker, the guy that did Optimus Prime, did all of his voices.
Oh,
I mean, did all of
that's
his
right.
sounds.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
Now,
It's not
is this
augmented.
also your
This
absolutely?
is absolutely 100%. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And they didn't do any. They didn't use any electronics. He just did it himself. He did all of the sounds.
I've
from
seen him do it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's amazing.
And of course, the testosterone of the film is wonderful. I mean,
Okay.
everyone's like, we're super this, and we're gonna blow this shit up, and
Right.
and it's great. I mean,
Right.
because they're going in there to save everybody, and we're not assassins and into a meat grinder. It's so great. That on top of these huge people just blowing stuff up, and after that, for me, it's
Which also adds to how terrifying the Predator is.
Absolutely.
Because they purposely got these very intimidating and, as we'll discuss, rather unstable human beings to go out into the jungle. But they showed I agree. I mean, the way the pacing of the film and the foreshadowing, right? And the building of these guys as this crack team and showing us, basically it's a team of Rambos, right?
Yes.
Just that's it. You're fucked if they show up. And they're being hunted like like they're
Like-
nobodies, like
Yeah.
they're deer in the forest. And of course the acting. I mean, I thought that I guess we'd all I don't know, would we all agree that Bill Duke was the shining performance of that movie? Not that,
100%.
everyone was amazing, but
Yeah, I think the three people is Kevin Peter Hall, Bill Duke, and Arnold. That's
course.
arguably Arnold's one of his finest
I
performances.
wholly agree. That was very good, dude.
Yeah.
yes,
I wholly agree
yeah.
with you because Kevin Peter Hall, it was in. I don't know if he had training in mime technique or, I don't know what he was before that, what his training was. But of course, you watch him in that, and in Harry and Anderson's,
They're not the same character.
No.
and his body language is just, it tells you so much, and it's captivating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with those three picks. Very good picks. And Bill Duke has just straight up acting, just almost stole
But
it.
then
I mean, it was-
I loved Apollo Creed.
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers.
Typecast.
Yeah. No, I think Apollo Creed was in the original cut.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah,
Then a Russian person killed him or something. That's how that went.
That's how that ended.
I think that's how Apollo.
Yeah, they had a whole thing that was going to go on Hollywood at the time where Apollo was going to show up in movies and get killed by a Russian guy.
Yeah, and all that is none of that's true. So
All right.
that's
all right.
our false information sound.
Yeah,
But
alarm.
seriously, I mean, another thing is for instance about Predators. What would you claim? You said it was one of the most terrifying action movies, but is it an action movie? Is it a horror movie? Is it a sci-fi movie?
I guess that's when you saw a lot in the '80s. The brilliant blend of those three things to make something. Like that. Of course, you got some filth when it came to some nasty films.
Just sewer film on that one. Yeah.
But on that one,
Yeah.
it blended the '80s, blueprint into a beautiful piece of work. I've heard people complain. Oh no, you want to talk about the positives? Yeah.
No, we can
right
move
now.
into that.
People complain that they don't like I guess what you call the third act, where Arnold's by himself.
Why?
I remember they said they felt it got boring. I remember as a kid thinking, "Oh, everyone's gone," and as I got older, that feeling only became sadness. There was a
I thought it was,
tangible sadness when they were all gone. So that's actually brilliant that he was able to do
it's
that.
not just
the director.
sadness. It's not just sadness. I mean, this man's used to working with a crack team of people behind him. The fact that he's alone now, you're supposed to feel alone. That's a brilliantly constructed
Absolutely.
action movie. And more than an action movie, it's a thriller. I would call it a thriller. Right?
I like that.
It's
I like that.
a fantastically constructed thriller, and he follows the Hitchcockian Jaws thing technique that you don't see the creature
Yeah.
until the end of the movie. And how many '80s movies were doing that?
Oh my
Think about
God!
it, you know what I mean? How many '80s movies were that skilled?
Right.
Especially on it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's an action movie,
Yeah.
thriller again. No, the foreshadowing in that and the pacing to build to that point, absolutely.
All right, quiz moment for a second here.
What is
When was the first time they actually showed you a glimpse of him uncamouflaged?
That's when he was taking a poop.
I don't think that happened in the final cut. I really don't.
Okay. I think they put it in a separate movie. That was for those weirdos. Not that I'm judging. The first time.
The first
I
time.
don't know.
It was when he tripped the trap that they set for him. When he got out of the net, remember they set that whole trap and he was in the net. He jumped up into a tree.
Oh, yes.
Carl Weathers looked up and he came out of camouflage for a second, hanging on the side of a tree, and then went back into camouflage. That was the first time you saw him.
Very good. Very good.
That would be pretty good.
Well, I'm going to have me some fun, is what I've got to say about that.
For the love of God. And I didn't know for
Will
the
have you
longest.
some fun if you watch that movie. Is anybody out there who hasn't seen it?
That should have been the tagline for the movie. Predator going to have me some fun. But it's just for a second, we must talk just slightly about Bill Duke, even though, again,
No, absolutely.
okay, we'll move into why the characters were so unstable.
Okay.
Why you could consider a crack team of military experts, why you would look at those guys and the way they behaved and say, yeah, we need to send them out with guns. Or maybe that's what you're supposed to do.
Maybe.
But you got the sense that they went right to the military mental institution and just they were at their afternoon Jello and all that.
Yeah.
And they were just like, guys, we got a mission.
Can I bring my group? And then they're like, yes. Well, like, can I bring my group? And they're like, yes, you may.
So, but Bill Duke's full on, no holds barred performance in that movie.
Insane. You could see the moment where he cracked. I think his was the most, I don't know, organic when he cracked and he couldn't take this anymore. Of course, after his friend was killed.
Yeah.
And he took every single line, every single moment completely seriously.
Yeah.
No one will ever forget him taking off on them. I got you, motherfucker! I'm coming! And it's like he's
And then
Mac,
singing to him,
Mac, and then singing.
to himself as he's out there in the.
Now that's a
unbelievable-
soldier right there. I'm using my madness to go get the enemy.
Yeah, and the enemy's obviously an alien at this point. Yeah, so that's
That's the
actual
other-
strength.
Well, that's the other problem, right? So we have again. I guess that's enough we can address. We just you need to do something. I don't know what it was to show that these guys weren't endlessly unstable at all times because that's
Yeah. I
and
have a
just
hypothesis.
prone to panic. Well, really?
Yeah. We know that was McTiernan.
Yes, it was.
John
Okay,
McTiernan.
Yeah. So we know things kind of get out of his hand sometimes. You know what I mean?
Why do you say that?
Well, I don't know how would you put that. The whole Bill Clay phenomenon and the muskrat. You know what I mean?
You're losing people, right?
So for me,
Yeah. So of course, no, people know if you know what the Bill Clay phenomenon is.
yeah.
But
So
the
for-
muskrat, be a little more specific about that.
Oh, the in Predator when Blaine was walking around, chewing gum or whatever, and a muskrat showed up and Predator decided to shoot the muskrat and Blaine was traumatized at the loss of the muskrat.
Yeah, two things unbelievably confusing. Why did Predator shoot, which I believe was a badger?
A badger?
It was
Oh,
a
okay.
badger.
In the
Why
mid-
did Predator
in
shoot
the middle of a jungle? Really?
It looked like a badger to me.
okay.
Though I'm not a badger expert or anything.
Why the hell did we bring you on this show?
I've been outed. And yeah, why did he choose to shoot the muskrat? We'll call it. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
And why was Blaine just absolutely dumbfounded by it?
Yeah. So it's little stuff like that. This isn't little, but I think that was the point that Predator made them, scared children but they didn't do it properly. So I agree. You should have shown them being what they were and what they were said to be, and then you see them dismantled by this creature because he's so physically superior and his tactics and his weaponry is so superior.
Well, that's good.
But it just didn't. It didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you. I think it's just seems to be what they wanted to do, but I don't think they pulled that off.
Yeah, but that's always the thing with film, right? You only have a certain amount of time. I mean, it's always easy for anyone to sit there and go, well, this is what you should have done.
Yeah.
This is what you should do, or this is what we needed in that. But, there's always only a certain amount of time. And that's always one of us. Look, if we're going to criticize a film, I know full well that none of us have made a big budget movie,
Yeah.
But it is still, that's just what you do in good faith. You're just like, I'm not actually saying you're a piece of shit human being for not doing this, right? I understand that these things happen. I understand that maybe a lot of this was completely out of your control.
Yeah.
I didn't make a movie, right?
Yeah.
But still, whatever.
Still, what happened?
Still, right, yeah. The other problem, of course, is we had some people that wanted to believe that it was an alien far too quickly, Right? So half the group just went with that hypothesis immediately, right? Oh, okay, something happened. It's an alien. That's it. It's just that's the only thing that could be doing things in this jungle.
which could be a sign of mental strength. It's like, it's an alien. Okay, yeah, how we did with the alien. I mean, that's you look at that, it's like, wow, you're ready for any goddamn
I would
thing.
say the opposite. It's further proof that they were delusional. 'Cause they were a little too ready and willing to look for that alien. They had been thinking about this alien for a while. But then, of course, there's Carl Weathers, Dylan's character.
Yes.
Carl was Dylan, right? Did he have a first or last name or what?
I don't remember them saying. Did anyone have first and last names?
I don't think.
Right.
Mac, Blaine, Poncho, Dylan, Hawkins, Dutch. I don't.
Right.
They said Major. That's
Polly
basically
Pocket.
the only. No.
No, another deleted
Yeah,
character.
that was in Predator Poops.
Available at your local.
That'll be your local Blockbuster, the one that's closed. Break in.
Available at Mr. Kim's.
So anyway, that just so everyone knows that's a reference to Nicetown.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nice Town.
Yeah. But Billy, so they all believed it in me. Oh, and Billy's, of course, Billy had,
Yeah.
he was not he wasn't a motivational speaker by any means. He was willing. He was just death was inevitable immediately. Like that was it.
You gotta respect his resolve, though. Hey, this is what it is. We're gonna die.
And his acceptance. Yeah, absolutely. That man's done some meditation. Like,
For me, if I can interrupt for a second, there was two places where it was casting that went wrong. Because I think everybody else in the film, it was storyline where we're saying they're too ready to accept the aliens.
Right.
I didn't think that Shane Black looked like he belonged anywhere near a special forces anything, especially with glasses that are so huge in the combat.
See, but I don't know if that's an actual thing, right? We're just going by what we would think, but I
This
don't
is
know
true.
if that's
Okay,
real.
it didn't come off believable, but it could have very well been realistic. Okay, so
Right.
for me, it always looked strange.
Right.
And Poncho. I think that guy had a lot of emotion and everything,
Right.
but his just weeping.
Yeah.
And he was very, very tiny young man. It was just.
I don't think, again, in the special forces, I'm not sure.
This is true, but they didn't show them doing anything where it's like, all right, I shoot grenades. Anyone can just shoot the grenades. They didn't show them doing anything that was special to Poncho. It's like, Poncho, because of whatever you do this. No, I have a gun I fire. Okay, well, wow, you're a specialist. It just didn't really make any sense to me.
that's
Those two
Well,
characters.
I guess anyone. Yeah, I thought that was a neat little thing that he was the one shooting the grenades. And yeah, I hear what you're saying, but that doesn't. I don't know how much of that was the writing, the direction, right? If he's saying, okay, now's the moment. If he tells Poncho, the guy that played Poncho, if he tells him, oh yeah, okay, now you got to be really emotional because you're scared. I mean, he has to do what he's told.
That's true, and he was good at it.
He was.
He was.
Right. But no, the speed in which he got scared was
was the issue.
yeah, was the issue. And then, of course, it was Dylan, like we were saying. Dylan, they're far past when they realized that this was an alien. It was still the bullshit psych job.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd been listening to a psychiatrist that they came telling him about the bullshit. Oh, no, it's weird. He wasn't with them.
He
right?
wasn't.
So
So
hired them.
he's up in here with a bunch of mental
no,
patients.
See, now I'm on his side because he's used to dealing with their bullshit psych jobs all the time. Because they're,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like, yo, you guys.
You
come
find out
on,
none
yeah.
of them work for the military.
Out here getting shit done. Quotation marks there. Just
This was not a mission. They
Yeah.
killed a village of innocent people in South
yeah.
America.
It looked completely. It was in Chicago. It looked completely different in their heads. They're just doing whatever the hell. You know?
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
and Predator was a crackhead.
He took them down, man.
All right. All right. So, is there anything we went off on a thing there?
We
but
did,
Is there anything more positive we can say about Predator before we?
The ending, I think, was very unique to it as well. There wasn't some big triumphant, I am the winner, I get the girl. That did not happen in that movie.
Yes.
He was obviously traumatized for the rest of his life, sitting in a helicopter, looking out. No one, except for Anna, the one woman in the film, knew what the hell had gone on.
Yeah.
Again, there was no happy ending for Dutch.
That's
and
right.
the fact that he didn't, and he did, but he didn't actually hit the final blow on the enemy either. The fact that he killed himself, the ending is amazing. I think it's again unique to that kind of film. Absolutely.
That's a great point. Tonally, to have the Arnold Schwarzenegger sitting there dejected after he won. Yeah. That's no words were said after that. Is that right?
No words at all. Him, what was the last thing? The Predator. What are you? Was that the last thing he said? And then that was it.
Wow.
Wait, no. They said something in the helicopter.
What?
Arnold
my,
didn't say
my
it.
God.
Yeah,
or
my
something.
God. Yeah, the one
the
general.
explosion.
And Arnold didn't say another damn word after "What are you?" And then Predator repeated it, and then the amazing laugh. It holds up. It's still shocking when you see it to this day.
Yeah. So I'm sure that everyone out there has seen Predator, but if you haven't seen the original 1987 Predator, do go out and watch it. It's still an amazing movie.
Yeah.
100% agreement.
All right. So what's the next one? Come in. Please come in.
My God, come in.
I am Phasor. We are lost. We need your help. This transmission is coming from the furthest reaches of the cinemascape. Please, if you have...
This is powerful stuff. I mean, you're getting so intense.
Thank you, Laffy Dunn
It's
Man.
gonna work this time.
We are under attack by our greatest enemy.
We're horrified.
Yeah.
We're just horrified.
Yeah. Well, you are.
I'm terrified.
We could go for RoboCop, or we could go for Lethal Weapon. It was the three I mentioned.
Let's do RoboCop last.
Okay.
It's
All
a
right.
special film.
Yes, it is.
Let's start with someone else on Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon?
Yes, Lethal Weapon. What would you like to say, Malmut, about Lethal Weapon and how it holds up to this day? The goods, the bads, and all in between.
I haven't seen the whole thing.
You're fired.
I did when I was a kid, you know. And I don't like any of you. No, from what I saw as an adult,
Unfortunate.
it was like we were saying, it was in that class of quality 80s action. You know, it wasn't just, empty like scenes with a lot of explosions. You know what I mean? It was
Yes.
great character development, and you felt for the buddy cop story. I can't, like I said, I can't say too much about it because I haven't seen the whole thing. So I'm fired today.
No, that's fine. I should have checked with that beforehand. That's fine.
That's
So
okay.
we will kick it over. I agree with what you said so far.
Yeah.
The limited knowledge you have of it, we'll kick it over to Dr. Crisis.
Don't kick anything at me.
Look, you agreed to be on this camp. You're gonna take the lumps.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those movies that you think that you understand. It becomes clear to you how many things have to work to make a legendary movie, and a movie that lasts, and a movie that continues to be enjoyable 30 years later, right? So what had to work in that movie was the direction, the writing, and the acting, which is often what has to work in most movies, and the music.
Yes.
Right? For me, those are, of course, four elements. I guess it's for anybody, but
Yeah.
I said it before and I'll say it again. The major tools of filmmaking are sight and sound. But I think people go overboard sometimes with, dialogue and the complexity of even the story. I know that sounds strange, but the complexity of the story being spoken and what the characters say.
Yes.
Dialogue, right? I think you can tell a truly complex, amazing story, and I think some of the more legendary films, dialogue is not the major thing anyone remembers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not what makes them happy.
Yeah.
Or it's usually single lines.
Right.
Are used to find. But anyway, so all four of those things worked really well in that movie,
I agree.
right? And that's what I think about. Like, what if the script wasn't as tight and as interesting? What would the movie have been? What if you hadn't had those two actors, two tremendous actors?
Mel Gibson, Danny Glover.
Yeah. What if you didn't have those two in that role? Right.
Yeah.
What if you didn't have a director that knew how to keep things tight and tense and interesting and fun at the same time, right? Because we all know that there's directors that can keep things tight and tense but don't understand humor in any which way but loose. And it comes off as corny and what would be, forced. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, Shane Black.
Yes.
Yeah, wrote a fantastic script.
Absolutely.
You know, did I mention that already? I think I did. I don't know what I'm talking about. And the director's use, Richard Donner's use of the saxophone and the guitar at certain points to create, again, a unique experience. I think those are most movies that are legendary have something unique about them. That's why people go back and watch them over and over again, because you can't really find that in another movie.
Right.
Like one that comes to mind is Matrix, right? The Matrix. We'll get to that, but that's one of those ways. As soon as it's a brief,
Segue.
not a segue. You can go to hell.
I will.
No, there's a word I'm looking for, and my brain's not working today. So I'll be getting a lobotomy if you want to come and watch it.
I got one that's fired, one lobotomized. What the hell am I going to do with myself?
What are we talking about?
Lethal weapon.
Yeah. So it's a brief. It's a brief.
Sojourn.
Talking about the new film is being filmed right now. It's called Off the Rails, starring 3 sons of bitches.
So right, yeah. So we're talking about the.
So the Matrix, as we've been talking about for the last hour in our 100th episode.
No. So when that green, when the logo, film logo comes up for the Matrix, and it's green, and the horn comes
Those
up.
horns.
Yes. That reminds me of what I'm talking about. Is movies, like movies that last forever, or something that no other movie can provide. They've touched something that this is it. You're not going to find it. And every time that happens with the Matrix, and it's the same thing with Lethal Weapon. I feel when you hear that saxophone, when you hear the guitar playing, it's like, well, oh, yes.
Yeah.
So
That was Eric Clapton, the guitar.
that's right.
Yes.
And the saxophone was.
Was that? Who was
I
it?
believe
that
it was Sanborn.
Was it?
Yeah. I know it was him for at least the 3rd film. I know it was Sanborn. I think it was him throughout, but I'll double check that. But I believe
Okay,
it
so
is.
that's a almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an asterisk on there somewhere.
Yeah. Fuck your asterisks. So that's what comes to mind when I think of Lethal Weapon. You know.
No, I agree. I agree. The components that needed to come together came together, and it made a unique film. You still want to watch it and still enjoy the camaraderie and all those things that shine just really bright. Or again, in the 80s where that shit, and any decade, that shit just failed miserably. You're like, I'm watching this corny shit, and bad acting and all else.
And it is amazing the caliber of actors you could get in those movies. But I think sometimes the difference was you would get calibers of actors like Danny Glover and Mel Gibson in a big budget movie, but they just showed up. They were just like, okay, thanks for the paycheck. I know I'm going to get a toy out of this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But no, I mean, the two of them were like, this is for real. I am Murtaugh,
You are Riggs.
Yes.
And for having an entire scene where Riggs is sitting in his trailer contemplating suicide and almost gets there, you're like, wait, where are we?
Yeah.
It's like, well, and then that.
But I would say not for then. I think audiences to today might say, where are we?
It's a good point.
People
Good point.
then were like, yeah, well, this is how you make a good movie. I don't care if it's, which is why the worst parts of the 80s were the worst parts of the 80s. Because they were like, that's not a good movie. I feel like sometimes I feel like that's what happened. Like the people who were making the terrible movies in the 80s got too big a budget by like today. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
And need to give a shout out to Shane Black for ruining things nowadays, where I think the man should have stayed in the 80s. But that's another conversation for another day.
Whoa.
Another conversation for
No,
another day.
I don't agree with you on that one. Okay. Anything else about Lethal Weapon?
No.
You're lying. Are you lying?
Yeah,
the
but like
house
you
they
said,
blew up. The house they blew up?
Yes.
Was a famous sitcom house.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What, the one that Dixie, the prostitute, lived in?
Yeah. That they actually filmed, and this is where I can't remember which sitcom.
Oh, shit.
Look it up, you bastards.
Let us know.
What do you think? Yeah.
Some damn way.
Yeah, some way. Send us the carrier pigeon. That was a famous sitcom house.
I didn't know that. Was that like a
Like the Brady Bunch or something like that.
Oh, okay. Was that a middle finger to it, or was?
That I don't know. That I don't know. But it might have been a Partridge Family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a famous sitcom house.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, and they just blew it to shit.
That was an awesome scene.
Yeah.
Did anyone else out there, I know the three of us, I believe the three of us did, think that the plane that went by in that scene was responsible for blowing up the house when you were a child?
Yes.
Saw that as a
I don't
kid,
remember.
and the plane flew
We
by.
all did. We were
It's like,
for years. We
that
tried
friggin'
to
plane did it, and I
Yeah,
don't know
we tried
what-
to figure out why that plane was connected to Pittsburgh. But of course, as you get older, you realize that they had already triggered the damn explosion to go off, and they couldn't deal. They couldn't stop it because the plane was going by. So they probably were really. I would imagine they were kind of pissed about that.
Because, I wonder if it's stuck in anyone else's minds. Like, this seems connected somehow. Yeah, I wonder if it didn't fit the shot. It was weird.
Do you want to kill yourself? Yes or no? Do you want to die? Yes or no?
I'm hungry. I'm going to get something to eat.
No, that's not how that is.
I know that.
He was trying to paraphrase.
I was trying to legitimize this whole operation.
All right, moving on, you damn asshole. You're trying to make me feel. No, I don't know what I'm saying.
How dare you?
Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen.
A major star.
All right.
Today being irate. All right, so movie number 3, and
From
I feel
1987.
from 1987, and I feel the best of the 3 as far as films that stand as greatness would be RoboCop. Part machine, part man, all cop.
Was that the tagline?
Yes, it was. With him, the poster, him standing 1 foot outside the car, holding onto the car door, being on the scene like a sex machine, and just the greatest thing.
Indeed. A
Ever.
sex machine.
Yes, just
I
damn
think
it.
that was the original concept.
For him to be a sex machine?
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Lewis was all for that.
Oh, of course she was. You know, Murphy, I'm a mess. You know, that was the tagline
Yeah.
for that film.
So, okay.
We will have, since we'll let him redeem himself, we'll have Malmut start off the conversation about the incomparable RoboCop.
RoboCop. Oh God, you're talking about. You said all the aspects that go into a film. They touched on everything. You know, the acting, the writing, the direction, the music. You know, the sound effects.
Oh, Jesus.
Sound effects. You know, oh God.
Please don't turn us off.
That's such a powerful film, you know, because as a kid, it's like, yeah, boo, boo, shoot, 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 you know, and
Yeah,
then you get older and you're like, wow, everything they're saying with this film, you know.
Which I don't suggest that young children watch the film.
No.
We just
Oh,
we had no
absolutely.
guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, seeing it, I could watch that film every night and still be just as riveted, you know.
Yes.
Like just for like you were saying, like a lot of '80s children.
Oh yes. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, new movie's out. Watch it. It's like, wow, I'm traumatized forever. But
Yeah.
what a movie.
But a
It's
lot of
like,
these children just weren't.
sure.
Had no guidance on what was going into that VCR. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Powerful. That's just the word that because everything they did was powerful. You know what I mean? When shit was deep, it was powerfully deep. You know what I mean? I mean, when it was like crazy and like in your face, it was powerfully in your face. You know what I mean? It was so
vibrant.
so powerful. They are so powerful. No. Yeah, and of course, you know, Peter Weller, you know, who else is going to play that role, you know? And he had a lot of trouble with that role.
Really?
Yeah, because the costume took like 10 hours to put on.
yeah, that's not an exaggeration.
Wait.
It was
Are you sure about that?
Yeah,
it was between 8 and 10 hours. Yeah.
yeah.
That is unbelievable.
And it was like 70, 80 pounds.
Okay, go ahead.
So there was that, and he couldn't get
70 and 80 pounds, did you say?
70 to 80 pounds.
Was he
yeah.
70 or 80 pounds? I mean,
Seriously,
Yeah.
yeah, you know. And had these hooks on the set, you know, when he couldn't take, you know, because they were like, let's put on half of it because we're not showing his legs right now, and we can't take this off. So let's just have him sit in these hooks, and it would hook onto the top, and he could rest for a second, but he couldn't like walk anywhere. Said that the amount of water he was losing, he was doing it was just, and he would still be able to give a performance like that, under all that stress. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And he needed help from his, was it his acting coach? There was somebody else he called in. Was like, I can't get this character. I can't find it. And the movements and everything. And they made him a suit. And there's a picture of him and this coach. I don't know if it was like someone like specific to his history in acting or if it was someone who was like a specialist. There's a picture of the two of them in the suit working out the movements of this character. It's amazing.
Wow.
And another original character thing, original casting, they originally wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger. They thought after they had considered it that he was far too big as it was to put the suit on him, he would be too big and it would be ridiculous. So they pulled back on that.
How about that?
All right, other thoughts, Dr. Crisis, about RoboCop?
Yeah, Verhoeven made a career out of the director, Paul Verhoeven, made a career out of fooling people into thinking he was making something low budget or useless, from that, of course, to Starship Troopers, to Showgirls, which we will talk about another time. And I think people miss the point of that movie. But that's what comes to mind, that people were always underestimating movies like that, and people still do underestimate the brilliance of something like RoboCop, but Verhoeven made a career out of doing that. The movie itself is about, of course, not just man losing themselves to machine, but a society losing all integrity and their soul, the soul of society, to corporate interests, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of what the movie was nailing at, was hitting at, was when that happens, when everything becomes about gain and money, what happens to the average person. And that's what happened to, Officer Alex Murphy. They were using that as an example of what happens. I mean, of course, the remarkable scene, you get teary-eyed thinking about it, actually, when he goes home and visits his house.
Oh, God.
Right.
Oh my God.
The way that whole scene plays out as far as the director, and of course we must talk about Basil Palladores, the man that wrote the man that wrote the score for the movie. It is a complete classical work of music. I would suggest anybody that loves music go listen to the entire score, and the way him and Verhoeven work together to take the individual pieces of this work of music and put it at scenes where they needed to be. I mean, I know that was a bit of a roundabout way of saying that, but the way they work together for every scene seemed to have a different theme, music, because the scene itself had a different emotional theme.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So we think about RoboCop walking after his nightmare, walking through the hallways. What's playing in the background there is it is a musical manifestation of melancholy, of being lost. So listen to that, watch that scene, and and then of course, as soon as she says, "Murphy, it's you," the music changes to a more sad version of his theme as he's walking out.
Yes.
Right. Murphy, it's you. Well, what does that mean? Yeah. And then RoboCop, the theme comes up, but I am RoboCop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you, right? That's the kind of detail that went into this movie. So yeah, I mean, and he himself, if I remember correctly, said it was a modern telling of the Jesus story. Is that right?
Yes, he believed it was because Verhoeven is a Polish born director. He believed it was the American version of Jesus.
That's remarkable.
That's how he saw RoboCop. And you look at some of the comparisons: his death, his resurrection. Of course, him walking on water at the end when he's going after. It looked like he was walking on water when he was going after Clarence.
So beautiful.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing. And for that take, and you look back on it, it's like, all right, that isn't just some weird nonsense from an auteur director.
Right.
It makes sense what he's saying. Yeah.
And then, of course, add some of those chilling action scenes in history. I mean, he's an unstoppable character. right? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, for him to have it.
Unstoppable justice revenge.
Yeah.
That's what made it so great. It wasn't just revenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. We also have to. Well, it's like, he's not looking for revenge. Make no mistake, it's not revenge he's after. It's a reckoning. Where,
Yes.
it's like that.
Yes.
So, if you can figure out what movie that was from, we'll send you a packet of cigarettes.
And a jar of huckleberry jam.
Yeah. I don't remember what we were talking about at all.
RoboCop.
I don't care.
No, I mean, the little. I don't think this is what I was talking about, but I'm going to say it anyway. I also like the little details they put into the characters. We all know the scene at the gas station where they decided, for some reason,
Love of God.
right, to go into the psyche of one of the side characters,
That's right.
where he feels some kind of way that the gas station attendant is a college boy, and this triggers him to the point where he's going to murder him.
Out
Right.
of complete self-loathing and inferiority complex.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that they would fit that in there. That little stuff that made all the world so rich. When you were thinking about, this is just a dark place that everybody's in. You listen to me? I'm talking to you. Hey, you kind of college boy or something? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, and I'm going to say this for this film, and then maybe we can go back and do the other two films we were just talking about. If you had to pick the line that sums up this movie, what is it?
Wow. RoboCop
Yes.
in the movie?
Yes.
Can it be in another movie?
I don't think it can. We'll do that later.
That'll be a separate episode. Wow, I don't know. That's a great. What do you got?
Do you have one, Melmwood?
You go first.
For me, it is they'll fix you. They fix everything.
That's fantastic.
Is the line that
All
sums
right,
up that entire
You're
film.
good at this. Let's move on to Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. The easy one is I'm too old for this shit.
Very good.
But the better one is they fix you, they fix everything.
Which was in every 80s movie ever made, that line, if you
Yeah.
look on it.
Along with Carl Weathers getting killed by a Russian.
Of course.
And all that's just so doggone true.
Which sound is that?
I don't even remember. I'm just doing sounds at this point.
It's-
right.
He's doing it with himself. It's bodily sounds.
All right.
So the other one we were talking about was
Predator.
Predator. And Predator, we already said the line, what are you?
No, come on, what are you talking about? It's got to be, I ain't got time to bleed.
See, there we go. I think that's a much better one. Yes.
Yeah.
I ain't got time to bleed, said by Blaine. Oh, yes.
I
No one's
heard
got
a very
time to bleed around here.
interesting- Yeah, I heard a very interesting about someone, who was it? Someone on the set of RoboCop, one of the cast members saying how generous Arnold Schwarzenegger was.
Really?
Because they said working with other action stars, they would have demanded that line. They would have demanded any line they felt was going to be a big line and people loved, and he was not that way. And
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
That's really cool.
No, I thought I heard that he really took care of the crew on that production. Being out in the sweltering heat and everything, and he would buy sandwiches and cold waters and in a tent. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Good old Arnie.
All right. So, is there any other movies that instantly come to mind that came out in 1987?
And it's weird because I before I looked it up, of course, I always thought Die Hard was another one of these, but it came out the year
88.
after. Yeah, 88. Also directed by McTiernan, who directed Predator.
Right.
No, it's weird. Those are the three I thought
He
of.
directed your asterisks.
He directed my asterisks. Okay, I'm dumbfounded now.
You're certainly dumb.
It's becoming an assault of insult, is what it is.
Escalated quickly.
I can think of no other movies from '87. He said those are the three I always thought of, and that's why I wanted to do
Wow,
this.
we can't think of. Okay, what one? I got you, buddy.
What?
One Best Picture in 1987?
1987 was The Last Emperor.
Okay, then.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about that. I haven't seen it.
Okay. I thought The Last Emperor was. I only saw it once, and I usually, of course, like to watch a film more than once before I get a review of it. But for me, I thought that it was very, very beautiful, but I didn't think it. For me, I didn't get the substance from it. I couldn't focus on the storyline. I thought it was just one of these things where it's like, let's make it big, let's make it sweeping, let's make the palette beautiful, but I didn't get anything from it. I thought it was kind of stunted, in my opinion. I really like. I mean, Peter O'Toole was in it. I always thought he's done good work, although he can be a little scary when he was older. Well, that's very superficial. But Skeletor's grandfather on the scene, he wasn't quite that old yet by that time. But some actors that I never, because I'm a jerk, never learned their names. The man that played Egg Shen in the. Wait a second.
What?
When did Big Trouble in Little China come out?
I don't know.
We got to know that now. If that's 87, and
no,
we've dodged a bullet.
No.
We've dodged a goddamn bullet. No, we haven't dodged a bullet. We hit a bullet. What did we do with a bullet? No?
No. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, we have to addend. We have to put an
we'll come back.
addendum.
Well,
to
we're
this.
definitely going to do a whole episode on at least. I think we should do a whole episode on kung fu movies.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, so moving on from that, then we'll touch back on
Who
that
won
later.
Best Actor that year? Do you know?
87? I do not know, actually. No,
Okay.
I don't know.
When did Moonstruck come out?
Moonstruck came out in 87 or 8.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But the man that played Egg Shen, getting back to what's it called for a second, the man that played Egg Shen in that I thought was wonderful in Last Emperor. The man that played Wang from that same movie, he was also in it. He was really good. Very strong performances. What was his name? John Lone. He was the bad guy in Rush Hour 2. He
Right,
played
yeah.
the Emperor as he got older. Again, it was a stoic, very calm, very good performance. You could see everything that was going on behind his eyes. It was beautiful. But with all those things being what they were, I couldn't get engaged in the film for some reason. And again, it might be that I just need to watch it again. But on first viewing, I wasn't as interested as I thought it would be.
All right. So I think that's all we can think of for sure from 1987, where we
Yes,
wouldn't
where
be,
we know.
Like,
Yeah.
all right. So I guess what we'll do now is recast, or if there's another. Do you want to recast something?
Yeah.
What do you want to recast?
Recast what we've been talking about, or
Is there a possible way to recast? The problem with recasting Lethal Weapon is it's been recast 400 million times. They've done the movie in one way or another
this is true.
6 million times. I think that's the number.
6 million, yeah.
Yeah. Is there an interesting way we could recast it?
Lethal Weapon?
Lethal Weapon. Is there an interesting way we could figure out to recast it? Okay, no, we won't recast it. We'll replace it. We'll reset the movie. Where would be an interesting setting for the movie?
Oh, what, like a time period, or like
Yeah, let's
other-
say you were to reset Lethal Weapon in 1930s, like they were 1930s.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
They were 1930s cops.
that would be interesting.
So then who would you get?
Same year of production?
Yeah, same year. We do it in
Oh,
'87.
can we do that? How are we going to know what it's going to look like? Yeah, oh, wait.
No, we're saying actors from that time.
Yeah. Oh, no. What year did Untouchables come out? 87, right?
I believe it's '87, but I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on
You're
if
such
it's
a
for sure.
Just.
Why am I the '87 expert? I brought up 3 for God's sake. 4 if you count. What's going? Someone else do their damn homework. I think it was '87. I think Moonstruck was also '87, but I don't want to say it if we're not 100% sure.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I say we recast the 3 movies that we started with each other. We
Very
recast.
good.
This is
I
brilliant.
like it. Okay, what do you got?
All right, so I want Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dixie the prostitute, the one that got her house blown up.
And just focus on that.
The whole movie.
That's the whole movie.
the rest of the
Lethal
film.
Weapon is. You
Arnold.
know what the Lethal Weapon is.
Yeah.
In this version. Boom. All right.
That's it.
I got.
You just made the movie.
Of course, you want to keep the black man, white man dynamic. I'm not saying we have to. If you want to keep that, of course, Bill Duke is the Murtaugh from Predator. I think
That's
would
too
be,
terrifying. I don't believe for
That's
a second.
true. He'd be like,
that
"I'm
he
scared of
would
you,
just-
you little
right,
cracker."
yeah, right, exactly. I don't believe for a second he just wouldn't squish.
Unless we get Arnold
Riggs.
Schwarzenegger as Riggs. You know? A slightly more unstable, or maybe less unstable version of Dutch. Because Lord knows they're all nuts.
Right. Or instead of actors, why don't we switch characters? Like, what would Riggs be like when fighting the Predator?
Oh God, Riggs would have after him by himself. And we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone wait back here, take my gun, and I'm just gonna go get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would, yeah. Lord knows Rambo would fucking get him, and Rambo would get him and have it done with. You know?
That's a hard one. If
Imagine Baker team. Rambo's Platoon, dealing with Predator. Give me a break.
I don't know. I really don't know about that. It depends on what information. It depends on what information John Rambo had first. If he did not know what Dutch eventually figured out, Predator just blows his brain out.
But that was his
Right.
that was his tactic from the first when it came to camouflage, hide, be
right,
that was his natural instinct that the special forces team didn't think of until the end.
Yeah, and the way they did Rambo was how you imagined all of Baker Team was. But also, Rambo was Arnold's entire team rolled into one person.
Yeah.
Remember how in touch with everything he was?
Yeah, very Billy like.
Yeah, very Billy-like. You know what I mean? So it's exactly my
So
point.
wait, are you
No,
trying
absolutely.
to say that Predator was just the internal psyche of John Rambo being played out, and that the Predator was his own monster that he was destroying? This is a new insight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and it should be a new franchise
Yeah.
called
Directed by Michael
Rambo's
Mann.
Rib Bone. We'll connect it to the Bible. I may have gone way off on that one.
No, I love it. Continue.
No,
Brave,
that's
sir.
all I have thus far.
No, Rambo's brain bone.
Rambo's brain bone. That's
Rambo done broke
I got
his brain.
my
Rambo
brain
does.
bone. You don't know.
Because I'm a fighter.
All right, I think we're out of time. I think the popcorn is ready. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
And I just think that Scorsese was great, and his shelf life is over. He has expired. He's done.
Yeah, I was the biggest Scorsese fan.